Hello, my name is Liz, and I've decided that I'm going to start making these videos around the full moon and the new moon, because I always, during these moon cycles, there's certain themes that come up, and then, I've posted them on my Facebook asking others, are you experiencing these themes as well? And it's always like a very like clear like yes. So I think that talking about these themes could be helpful to the collective, and also it helps me process it as well. And so there's three major themes that have been coming up for me, and I would be really curious to know if you've experienced them as well. So the first one is no surprise, but shadows, right? Shadows. But so I've been on this journey for 2.5 years when I was a meth addict, and I had like a massive spiritual awakening. And where like, so I went from being, a very like in my programming and conditioning to in a matter of like a couple of days getting these massive downloads of like this clarity and just all this, like, it's almost like all the information that I have now through seeking was given to me in just a couple of days. Now, like, I've spent the last 2 years putting it into action, walking the walk, instead of like in the beginning, it was just all this information that I was spewing out left and right to anyone that would listen. And now I've put it into practice. So these last couple of years have been, so, I've been on a deep healing journey, like most of us have on this path. If you're watching this, I'm pretty sure you can resonate with shadow work. So I won't go into like the definition of shadow work. But so one thing that I've noticed with this energy is that so the same shadow will come from many sources, like boom, 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 back to back in a matter of like 2 hours. And it leaves me with this very like overwhelmed, like, oh, but I can sense that. I know the deep purpose of it. It's because right now is a time for ascension, a time for healing. Our energy, of those of us that are on this path, like, our energy is needed. There's a deep purpose behind it. So I've come to a point where, I can accept it, and I can honor it, and I can love it. And that's huge. That's huge in shadow work, and not, falling into like this victim mentality, like, why me? Why one thing after another keeps happening? And it's like, I can honor it, because I know like the deep purpose behind it. So that being said, shadows, yes, they will. So I'll have this one situation with something over here, and then I'll have this situation over here, and then another one over here. But it's all getting me to look at, okay, this is a shadow. This is something that needs your attention. This is something that needs light. And really, for me, just having an awareness of them, and I think everyone handles them differently. I pray, and I call on, the archangels and the ascended masters and my higher self, and Mother Gaia, and my guides, and I pray, and in the process of praying, a lot of times it helps me work it out in my head, and see it from a higher perspective, and see the purpose in it. See, there's a lot of times there's some deep truths that I need to admit to myself that are not easy to admit. But if we don't face it, it won't heal. It'll stay in the shadow. It won't ever come to the light. So definitely some high levels of self-awareness and some high levels of self-acceptance. I wrote it's not, I guess I wouldn't call it a poem recently, it was 2 days ago, but just I wrote this piece that was like, I accept myself in all levels of healing. I accept myself when I'm joyous. I accept myself when I'm crabby. I accept myself, when I'm out connecting with nature. I accept myself when I'm balled up in a ball in a dark room. Kiwi agrees. I accept myself when I'm authentic. I accept myself when I'm being jealous. It's just like all of these versions of me, I am coming to a high level of acceptance with, because that's where it's all at. It's like, it's all like self-love and coming at things from love and not from judgment, because judgment has never gotten us anywhere. Judgment is energy of third density, which is what we're moving away from. We're moving into fifth density, where it's all about love and acceptance. And so I'd be curious to know if others have experienced these shadows that are coming from all different angles. Another theme that ties into that is I didn't write this one down, but I only wrote 3 down, and I was like, well, 3's not enough. But I knew as I started talking that like more would come. So highs and lows, which again, if you've been on this journey, is nothing new, but the amount of highs and lows that I can experience in one day is, I've been referring it to as human slingshot energy, because I'll wake up feeling like and then all of a sudden my vibe will whoosh, and then like something will happen, and then bam, and then up and then down and then up and down all day long, and it's like, it's so high levels of self-care are very important during this time. Self-love, again, I'm always going to go back to love. I love love. Taking it easy, not beating yourself up because you didn't do the dishes, or because you just finally folded a month and a half's worth of laundry. Actual situation. But I used to be really hard on myself for those things, and I don't anymore. I'm not anymore, because why? What good does it do? We spent our whole lives with people being hard on us, our teachers, our bosses, our parents, our, the government, the cops, like it's just everything. Like, why would we want to treat ourselves with that same level of harshness? I choose love. I choose to treat myself with love. And it's made a huge difference, man. I'm telling you. Okay, so my third is the second one that I wrote down, but now it's the third that I'm talking about. This kind of ties in. It ties in with the first theme, but so I have found myself in my personal relationships. I need to have a level of authenticity in my relationships and communication, and because I've spent my whole life being in relationships, and when I say relationships, I don't mean just romantic. I mean friendships, employers, just lovers, just whatever. I've spent, my whole life like being in these relationships, and when I get triggered, ignoring that and being like, well, that's on me. But now it's like I don't accept that. I don't accept that type of energy in my relationships. If something bothers me, I will talk about it, and I'll do it always from a place of love, But I talk about it with that person, and every single time that I've approached it this way, it's come out for the positively. It's come out for the better, and that relationship that I have with that person, it just grows and it strengthens, and it gives off the energy of safety, where you're safe with me, I'm safe with you. if I've upset you, please tell me, and so we can work through this, and so it doesn't become a grudge that just gets buried and buried and buried, and then all of a sudden one day you have an argument and it's bam, and then that relationship's gone for the rest of your life. So yeah, it's just, and there's been times when I'm like, well, I don't want to seem nitpicky, but it's like, you know what, if that person that is in my life cannot handle my level of authenticity and me wanting to communicate these things, then they're not meant for me. And I've come to a level of acceptance that not everyone that I meet on my path, not everyone that has been in my life already is meant to stay around, and I'm okay with that. That might sound cold to some people, but at the end of the day, we have to honor ourselves, because we can't put it on other people to honor us. Everyone's in their own world, in their own, figuring out their own shit. If we can't honor ourselves, who's going to? So, yeah, just staying, authenticity is a huge, huge, huge theme. Not just for the full moon, but just for this journey in general. Like, honoring your thoughts and your feelings, and letting your voice be heard, and not being like, oh, I'm afraid to upset people. Because you know what? If you upset them, then like maybe they weren't meant for you in the first place, right? So, and people are going to fall away on this journey. It's part of this journey, and it's okay if people fall away. That's clearing up energy for the people that are meant for you, and will help you, keep ascending on this path and keep growing and keep expanding. And so it's okay if people fall away. Even, oh, okay, yes. And so this is perfect. This leads me into the third theme that I wrote down, which is we don't owe anyone anything. Just because someone has been in your life for a long time and has maybe, helped you out or whatever, does not mean that we owe them anything at all. Having that thought pattern keeps us stuck. I've noticed this huge with my job lately, having this sense of subservience to them, but it's not just in employer, but like in any relationships. Family is a big one, because there's this blood is thicker than water. There's this idea that we owe our family because they're blood, and I say this with love, and I love my family, and but we don't owe them anything. We don't, just because they have been there for you, like that doesn't mean that you should stay in this level of, well, I owe them, so that because it keeps you from growing, it keeps you from expanding, and also the energy of obligation it's a lower vibration energy, and it's not useful. It's not useful to them, even though you might think that you think that it is, and that's because of this whole collective conditioning, that about owing people. It's our programming, but that type of energy does not serve anyone. And that leads me to the last theme, and that is one of sovereignty. I did not quite understand. I was hearing that word a lot, and I didn't quite understand what it meant until a situation at my work happened where it helped me to realize that I don't owe my employer anything. Just because they've been a good employer, that doesn't mean that, like, if another opportunity were to come along, like, I should just not take it because I owe them. Which that I realize that kind of like is what I was just talking about. So this idea of sovereignty, for me anyway, at the level of understanding that I have of it right now, because it's a new like theme for me. It's a new idea, but it's like breaking away from the societal conditioning, the collective programming that we are, you know, subservient to law enforcement, to employers, to loan officers, to, you know, like, you know, I know, like, being a recovering addict, I have quite a bit of debt. And so it's like I've been in this mindset, like, they're up here and I'm down here because I owe them this money. And it's like, that's not it. Will I still make the payments? Yes, but it's energetic. Hopefully the point that I'm making is getting across. But it's an energetic thing. Like, me having this level of obligation, this, you know, this sense of obligation to my employer, to the loan companies, to you know, someone that's been in my life for, you know, 20, 30 years or whatever. It's the vibration of obligation keeps us stuck. It keeps us stuck, and we can only grow to a certain level of expansion, staying in that vibration of energy. I hope that makes sense. It makes sense in my head. But I feel like those that are on this path, and well, really, and those that are meant to hear the message, it will resonate with, and it will make sense. And if it doesn't, that's okay too. You know, take what resonates, leave the rest. I don't. That's another thing that, you know, on this journey, I've come to understand. Like, in the beginning, when I first had my awakenings, like, I wanted everyone to hear all this stuff that I knew, and like, and when people didn't get it or gave me that blank stare, it's like I got upset, you know. And it took a while to break free from that. It took quite a while to break free from that, but I've come to a level now of where, you know, if the message will be heard by those that it's meant to be heard by, and those that, you know, that it doesn't resonate with, or that's bullshit. I mean, that's fine. That it's no skin off my back, you know. Like, it's totally fine. I've accepted that. Now, do I not ever get hurt when people are like mean? That's not true at all. I'm not to that point of healing yet, and I would like to think that I will be at some point, but I'm not. I get hurt very easily. I'm very sensitive. I've gotten through. I mean, I've made a lot of growth in that area, for sure. And it also helps, like, being in a higher vibration, because I'm attracting higher vibration experiences. So, you know, that doesn't come up. It doesn't come up often, but it does come up. And yeah, I will openly admit that I get hurt easily when you know, people are not when they don't agree, but when they do so in an unloving way. But I think I'll heal to a point where, you know, it doesn't hurt as much. And yeah, so anyway, I think that's it for this full moon. The full moon is tomorrow. It's been a really intense one, and I'm very curious to know, you know, if it's been intense for you as well. I know it has been. Like, I know most people that this video is going to reach, it has been, but I'd like to know in which ways, and if you resonate with the ways in which I've talked about in this video. I have my YouTube channel that I've had for like 2 years now, but when I was deep in, you know, healing and shadow work and stuff, I just stopped making videos. So I hope to make this a more regular thing. So let me know in the comments if, you know, if you are interested in more of these, like, moon updates, and then whatever else comes to me along the way. I would really appreciate that. So namaste.